The commentary on the Hevajra Tantra, called the Jewel Garland of Yoga, Yoga Ratna Mālā Nāma Hevajra Pañjikā, by Kāṇha. Chapter 10. Initiation. Now I will teach the mandala in the proper sequence. The rite by which the disciple is initiated will also now be taught. At this point, the initiation should be given to the disciples. In this context, it should be specifically given within a drawn mandala. Vajradhara introduces this topic in the verse beginning, "Now I will teach." In the proper sequence means without altering the procedure. The basic sense is, a disciple is initiated by the correct rite, and it is that rite that will be taught. The yogin should first purify the ground while assuming the identity of the deity. He should carefully turn the ground into Vajra from hum, and then draw the mandala. The ground refers to the earth. Assuming the identity of the deity means that he should merge himself with the two-armed Hevajra. Turn the ground into Vajra from hum indicates the following sequence. After meditating on emptiness, the yogin imagines that the syllable ra transforms into a sun disk, upon which is the syllable hum, that then transforms into a crossed Vajra, which in turn transforms into the ground made of Vajras, Vajra walls, a Vajra tent, and an outer ring of flaming Vajras. The yogin should recite Om Raksha 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 Hum 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 Pat Svaha to consecrate the ground and draw the mandala. He should trace the excellent mandala in a garden, in a lonely place, in a bodhisattva's house, or in a round structure. The bodhisattvas are Vajrapani and so forth. Using lines of refined powder or those of middling quality, powders made of the 5 gems, or alternatively of grains and the like. The mandala should be made to measure 3 cubits, with the addition of 3 thumbs. He should bring in a divine vidya, who belongs to one of the 5 families. In the verse that begins, "The mandala should be made," the phrase with the addition of 3 thumbs means that the mandala should measure precisely 3 additional thumbs. These are general mandala instructions, which will be followed later by the specific instructions. To introduce the topic of the initiation, Vajradhara speaks the lines beginning, "He should bring in." The term divine means supreme. Or any other as available who is 16 or of similar age, he should serve that mudra until she produces sexual fluid. The word or means that if such a vidya cannot be found, the yogin should bring one in as available. Preferably she'll be young, because the way of the Yoginī is the way of strong desire. This describes the characteristics of the female disciple. Now Vajradhara gives a brief presentation of the secret initiation, with the words, "He should serve that mudra." He should blindfold the mudra's face, and likewise the face of the means, and drop the product of their intercourse into the disciple's mouth. The mudra refers to the female disciple, and the means to the male disciple. At that moment, the disciple's sensory range should be made to be of equal taste. From his self-awareness arises knowledge, free from the notions of self and other. Regarding the verse that begins, "At this moment," equal taste in connection with that specific wisdom refers to the wisdom initiation. The disciple's sensory range means after the disciple's face has been uncovered. To explain what comes of this, Vajradhara says from his self-awareness, meaning that self-aware knowledge should arise through that experience of equal taste. To explain what makes this knowledge special, Vajradhara says, free from the notions of self and other, meaning that this knowledge is free from any distinction between the categories of self and other. It is like the sky, unsullied and empty, the ultimate nature of existence and non-existence. It is a perfect blend of wisdom and means, and a combination of desire and its absence. Like the sky means that this knowledge is the same as space insofar as it is free from mental images. It is unsullied because it is free of the afflictions. It is empty because it transcends mental elaboration. Existence refers to the arising of phenomena, and non-existence to their dissolution. Knowledge is thus referred to as the nature, the intrinsic nature of these two. The word ultimate refers to ultimate truth. Wisdom is the emptiness of all phenomena, and means is the great compassion, the experience of equating oneself with all beings. A blend of these two implies that wisdom and means are perceived as having a single nature. Desire refers to supreme joy, and its absence to the joy of cessation. These two are combined. He alone is the life force of beings. He alone is the supreme syllable. He alone pervades everything, and resides in every body. The term beings refers to sentient beings. He alone is their life principle, because without him there is no life. The supreme syllable has no beginning or end because of the nature of the Dhamma Dhatu. He pervades because all phenomena are composed of him. He resides in every body as he establishes consciousness in every living body. The world of beings arises from him alone, because they arise from the karma and afflictions that are of his nature. Existence and non-existence arise from him, as well as other things, whatever they may be. He is the universal nature of consciousness. He is the Purusa, and an ancient god. He is the Atman, the Jiva, the Sattva. He is time and the Pudgala itself. He is the inherent nature of all entities, present in illusory forms. To elaborate, Vajradhara speaks the lines beginning, existence and non-existence. Existence refers to the body, and non-existence to sensation and the rest. Other things refers to the 6 sense faculties, and the phrase, whatever they may be, refers to external entities, both the animate and inanimate. Vajradhara also expresses how Hevajra himself is related to the beliefs of non-Buddhists, using terms like Atman and so forth. Universal consciousness refers to the beliefs of the Vedantins. Purusha, who is pure consciousness, is taught in the Sankhya system. Pudgala is the belief of the Pudgalavadins. An eternal creator god is a reference to the followers of the Siddhanta. Atman refers to those who claim that there is an Atman that is born, lives, dies, is bound, or becomes liberated. Jiva is the belief of the Digambaras. Sattva pertains to those who believe in a sattva, and time refers to those who believe in time, as expressed in the following verse. Time matures beings, time devours its offspring, and time awakens those who are asleep. Time is difficult to overcome. According to those who believe in the Pudgala accumulates karma and then passes away once it is exhausted. All entities refers to both the worldly and transcendent. Present in illusory forms refers to his various magical emanations. The first is simple joy. Supreme joy is counted as the second. The third is called cessation, and the fourth is known as the innate. But still, how does equal taste comprise a disciple's sensory experience? About this, Vajradhara speaks the verse beginning, "The first is simple joy." Simple joy means common pleasure. Counted as the second means the second. The third one, which involves a departure from the oral instructions, is called cessation, referring to the joy of cessation. Innate refers to the nature of innate joy. This is one possible interpretation. Here is another interpretation of the verse beginning, the first. First, meaning during the initial one, the master initiation, simple joy arises through the external union of the lotus and Vajra. Why? Because this simple joy is common. Other people also experience this type of pleasure through the union of the lotus and Vajra. That is why it is called simple joy. Regarding the line about supreme joy, supreme means the most excellent. This joy is experienced through the secret jewel based on the master's instructions. It is counted as the second, means that it is counted as the second initiation. Regarding the line about the third, this joy is a special type of eminent enjoyment. Hence it is called cessation. It is the feature of the wisdom initiation because it is felt as great pleasure, with the jewel inside the lotus. In the line about the fourth refers to the fourth initiation, the innate, which is experienced as the nature of the sphere of non-localized nirvana. Having heard this, all the wise beings, Vajragarbha and the rest, felt utterly amazed, swooned, and fell to the ground. After the Blessed One explained to the assembly how innate joy is introduced into the sensory experience of the disciple using the term equal taste, and by describing the divisions of the moments, the original reciter interjects, speaking the verse that begins, having heard. Amazed, meaning filled with wonder, they fell to the ground, meaning the earth. The first joy is worldly by nature. Supreme joy is likewise worldly. The joy of cessation is just worldly as well. The innate is not found in these three. Explaining why they collapsed, the original reciter speaks the verse beginning, the first joy. It is worldly by nature because it is experienced in the world. Supreme joy pertains to the concealed truth because it has the nature of the path. Likewise means exactly so. That which is described as having the nature of the joy of cessation is an extremely subtle form of mental discernment. It too is worldly because one understands the exclusively mental nature of the concealed truth in terms of concealed truth. The phrase just is used in a restrictive sense. These three joys are mundane because they are experienced by worldly beings. The innate is not found in these three, meaning that the innate is not present in these three, or is not recognized, because it is different. The verse marked off as direct speech, indicating the original reciter's explanation as to why the assembly was amazed, ends here. The blessed Hevajra, whose body is the locus of all Buddhas, offered a hallowed reply that removes doubts for the sake of Vajragarbha's realization. The verse beginning, the blessed Hevajra, is supplied by the original reciter. Hevajra's body is the locus of, is indivisible from, all Buddhas. Removes doubts means the reply is that by which doubts are removed. Hallowed means supreme. For the sake of realization means for the sake of understanding. It is not passion, not dispassion, nor is it perceived in the middle. Only the innate is called awakening, precisely because it is separate from these three. In the verse that begins, it is not passion, passion refers to supreme joy, dispassion to the joy of cessation, and the middle to the first joy. These three are not perceived to have the nature of perfect awakening. In the line beginning, only the innate joy is separate from these three, which means it is distinct from them. The innate refers to innate joy, which is awakening insofar as it is the cause of awakening. To offer an alternative interpretation of this verse, passion refers to the first initiation, which relies on desire. Dispassion refers to the third initiation, which relies on eminent pleasure. The middle between these two stands for the second, secret initiation. Not perceived means they do not constitute the immediate cause for awakening. This is the reason that Vajradhara says, separate from these three. The phrase, the innate, stands for the initiation into the innate, which means that the innate comprises the fourth initiation. The phrase called awakening thereby designates the cause by means of the result. Why is this not said in regard to the other initiations? Because they are the cause of the cause. Therefore, the innate is said to be separate from the other three joys. If it is not found anywhere else, it follows that the ease of the natural state does not permeate the other joys. Consequently, it is only the innate that is called awakening, because it is the main cause of awakening. Either it alone has the nature of them all, or it is separate from all of them. It can be identified at the onset of the joy of cessation, but is separate from the three joys. Explaining now how to reveal the innate joy, Vajradhara speaks the line that begins, either it alone. Coming at the onset of the joy of cessation, is this joy not the same as supreme joy? No, it is not, which Vajradhara expresses with, separate from the three joys. This is a way of saying that it comes after supreme joy. In chapter 13, Vajradhara will say, this is one interpretation. To offer another interpretation, at the onset of the joy of cessation, means that innate joy should be identified at the onset of the third initiation, and that it should be discerned according to the initiation's procedure. How is innate joy distinct? Vajradhara says that it is separate from the three joys, meaning it is free from joy, supreme joy, and the joy of cessation, because it is separate by its very nature, insofar as it is naturally uncharacterized. It first appears like a cloud, and once accomplished like an illusion, it then suddenly appears like a dream, and then like undifferentiated sleep and wakening. Once the innate has been correctly identified, it will produce the 4 samadhis when cultivated based on the instructions. To describe them, Vajradhara uses the example of a cloud, an illusion, dream and sleep and waking. The word first refers to the initial period of training. How is it exemplified by a cloud? It is like the full moon obscured by clouds, because it does not appear clearly. How is it exemplified by an illusion? The world appears to be an illusion when one is immersed in the experience of great bliss. It is accomplished when it directly manifests. The phrase suddenly appears indicates the subsequent period when the innate is like a dream. How is it exemplified by a dream? In a dream there is no difference between self and other. After that, it is exemplified by sleep and waking, as one is in a state of mental composure in which waking and sleep are undifferentiated. The mudra yogin will reach accomplishment when that which is characterized as undifferentiated has been accomplished. Therefore, the teacher taught the 4-cornered mandala blazing with light. When the 4 samadhis have been perfected in this way, how will the yogin reach accomplishment? About this, Vajradhara speaks the verse beginning, the mudra yogin. Undifferentiated refers to the absence of distinctions between form and so forth. How is this distinction absent? The absence of distinction occurs when that characteristic has been accomplished. A characteristic is that by which something is characterized. When its intrinsic nature is realized, great bliss renders all entities devoid of intrinsic nature. This means that the mudra yogin, referring to the practitioner of the Great Seal, has become accomplished. The word therefore indicates that this type of attainment of the Great Seal will not occur without the initiations. To facilitate the conferral of the initiations, the teacher Vajradhara taught the mandala. Blazing with light means that it is adorned with various jewels. It has 4 doors, is brightly lit, and is decorated with long and short strings of pearls, furnished with garlands and various yak-tail whisks, and adorned with 8 pillars. Various yak-tail whisks are yak-tail whisks in various colors. It is arrayed in strings of diamonds adorned with various flowers, and is provided with incense, lamps, fragrance, 8 vases, and so forth. The vases should contain the tips of young shoots, and their necks be covered with cloth. 5 types of precious things should be spread around, and the victory jar set in the east. Their necks covered with cloth means that the vases' necks are bound with new cloth. The 5 precious things are coral, pearl, lapis lazuli, gold, and silver. To set means to place. The wise practitioner should demarcate it with a new thread that is well twined, the right length and beautiful, while embodying his chosen deity. He should recite the Lord of the Circles mantra 100,000 times, and those of the mandala deities 10,000 times. The astute yogin should purify the ground with the previously specified mantra. The verse that begins with "he should recite" describes the preliminary practice. He should first offer a bali in the mandala by reciting the mantra that begins with "a", and perform the protection as instructed, just as he would in a meditation session. First means prior to the purification of the ground. The mantra "a" and so forth refers to the mantra. The letter "a" is at the beginning because all phenomena are primordially unarisen. Om A Hum Pat Svaha. This is the mantra for offering the bali. He should give the initiations that were taught in his mandala according to procedure. The offering and worship here are also just as they were taught. The offering and worship are performed for the master. Just as they were taught is a reference to the Tattva Sangraha and other texts. He should draw 2 fine enclosures and the circle of Gauri and the others. In the east he should draw a knife, and the same in the south, west, north, southeast, southwest, northwest, and northeast as instructed, as well as below and above. Assuming the divine pride of Vajrasattva, with feet arranged in the Alida posture, the mandala master should enter, identifying with the 2-armed Hevajra. Vajrasattva is Hevajra. Bathed, ritually pure, his body anointed with fragrance and adorned with various adornments, he should assume divine pride with the sound hum, hum, and a terrifying attitude with the sound he. After that, reality is explained as pure and comprising knowledge. There is no distinction between samsara and purity, not even in the slightest degree. After that means immediately after bestowing the initiation. Pure means cleansed of the faults of samsara. Comprising knowledge means identical with omniscient knowledge. It is not distinct from samsara, referring to knowledge in which there is no distinction between existence and nirvana, implying that all mental elaboration has been transcended. During supreme pleasure there is no experience or experiencer, there is no corporeality, no perceived and no perceiver. There is no flesh or blood, no feces or urine, no vomit, no delusion, and no purity or purifier. To clarify further, Vajradhara speaks the two verses that begin, "during supreme pleasure." Supreme pleasure refers to supreme wisdom, to knowledge characterized by luminosity. In this wisdom, there is no experience, meaning that there is nothing whatever to experience. There is also no mind that experiences. Corporeality refers to the body. Perceived refers to the perceived objects that are projected by the mind, and perceiver to organs such as the eye and so forth. In the same way, there is no flesh or blood, and so forth. There is no desire, hatred, delusion, envy, slander, pride, nor object to be seen. There is no experience or experiencer, no friend or foe. The diversity called the innate is entirely free of waves. After explaining that the obscurations of the afflictions do not arise in this manner, Vajradhara explains that cognitive obscurations do not arise. Not to be seen means that external objects, including those that are perceivable, cannot be found. In the half stanza beginning, "the diversity," waves are concepts. When these vanish, the resulting state is free of waves. Diversity means manifold appearance. In the absence of that, there is no diversity. Once that was said, Vajragarbha asked, "How can the body that is intrinsically pure and has no intrinsic nature from the very beginning become composed of the elements?" Once that had been said by the Blessed One, Vajragarbha asked, meaning he asked a question. What does he ask? The question beginning, "How can the body?" The meaning is as follows. The body, having the nature of the innate, is completely pure by nature. How is it possible that the body is defiled, that it becomes composed of the great elements? Based on the principle that a given result arises from its corresponding cause, would it not be the case that the bodies of all beings, which arise from the natural state, are like the body of Vajradhara, who arises out of luminosity? This is a sense of the question. Replying to this, the blessed Vajraholder, who brings bliss to Dakinis, said, "It is free from waves by its own nature, and is present in every single body." Vajragarbha asked, "O Blessed One, from where does the aggregation of the 5 great elements arise?" The Blessed One replied, "When Bola and Kakora unite, and the vow-holder engages in Kunduru, the earth element is born there from that contact through the quality of firmness." The Blessed One replied, explaining how that which is nothing more than worldly bliss can be called the innate. It can be because it resembles the innate in having the nature of its cause. Therefore, he said, when Bola and Kakora unite, while the contact takes place, there is a quality of firmness. Earth is what possesses this quality. The water element is born from the fluid of the bodhicitta. Heat is born from friction, and wind from movement, it is declared. Bodhicitta refers to semen, corresponding to its nature of fluidity. Heat is born from friction, and wind from the movement of semen. Bliss is the space element and is enveloped by the 5. Since the great elements are bliss, bliss is not considered reality. Bliss is the space element because its nature is the absence of appearance. Given that the aggregation of these 5 natures is generated by great bliss, why is this aggregation not naturally free from defilements? About this, Vajradhara speaks the half stanza beginning, since the great elements. The concealed experience produced by the lotus and the Vajra is not considered reality, which is the ultimate innate state. To explain why, Vajradhara says, since the great elements. The great elements are called bliss because it begets the great elements. That which has arisen from two innate states is what is taught as the innate. This innate state is said to be the true nature that contains all forms. Explaining how it was previously praised, Vajradhara speaks the lines beginning, that has arisen. The innate state that arises from the two innate states, the inner wisdom and the inner means, is characterized by freedom from defilements. It is referred to using the term absolute truth. To elucidate this, Vajradhara speaks the lines beginning, this innate state. Synonyms for the innate are the natural form of all phenomena, thusness, ultimate reality, and intrinsic nature. These terms were previously used to describe the innate. They were not used to describe mere bliss. What is the difference? Vajradhara says it contains all forms. All forms, meaning the qualities of a Buddha, are contained or collected there insofar as all these qualities are present. The means of compassion is the yogin, and the mudra signifies the absence of causes. They are the mind of awakening, emptiness and compassion indivisible. Having thus described the innate that arises from wisdom and means within oneself, Vajradhara now speaks the verse beginning, the means of compassion, with the intention of describing the innate that arises from wisdom and means without a reference. Compassion is the mental attitude that regards others as the same as oneself. It is the supreme means because it is the primary means for perfect awakening. This compassion is the yogin, as it is the main quality of yogins. The mudra is the wisdom aspect. Who is the mudra? She is emptiness, the non-arising of phenomena. How is emptiness non-arising? Vajradhara says she is the absence of causes. She is such in the sense that no entity arises from itself, from something else, from both, or from neither. Emptiness is characterized as non-arising, and this is the supreme wisdom. The innate is described as the ultimate mind of perfect awakening, that is the indivisibility of emptiness and compassion, and is defined as luminosity. The implication is that mind of awakening is not used for the mere experience of pleasure with the external mudra. There is no mantra recitation, no austerities, no homa, no mandala deities, and no mandala. The mind of awakening is mantra recitation, the austerities, the homa, the mandala deities, and the mandala. Specifying whether or not a yogin who exclusively practices the stage of the arisen should practice meditation, mantra recitation, and so forth, Vajradhara speaks the lines beginning with, there is no mantra. The term mantra refers to Om and so forth. Austerities means changing clothes 3 times a day and so forth. Homa refers to offering items such as ghee into a fire. The mandala deities are the deities dwelling in the mandala. The mandala is the temple palace. Should anyone claim that the yogin would not reap the fruit of mantra recitation and the rest, Vajradhara says, this mind of awakening is mantra recitation, and so forth. The previously mentioned mind of awakening constitutes the reality of mantra and so forth, and is related to the samadhi of the cultivating of the innate during the stage of the arisen. In short, one takes on the form that is the confluence of the mind. This same mind of awakening is the confluence of all phenomena, their coming together in the experience of equal taste. The yogin takes on its form. This alone constitutes the fourth initiation, the initiation of the Great Seal, whereby all stains of conceptual thinking are directly cleansed. This summarizes the chapter that explains the initiations. This was the 10th chapter, Initiation. This concludes Initiation, the 10th chapter, and the Jewel Garland of Yoga, a commentary on the Hevajra Tantra, composed by the Venerable Master Kṛṣṇa.